Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make today is cake, but it's a particular type of cake that generally we don't make. But for folks that are restricted diets, that they can't have sugar, or maybe they just prefer to get away from sugar for a while, whatever type of specialty diet that they might be on. This is a quick and easy but a great tasting cake, and it's only sweetened with 100% juice concentrate. And I want to start off by right off the bat, it could be any brand that you want. It can be apple, or it can be grape flavor. I tend to like the grape a little bit better, but I'm making the one today with apple, and it's just a delicious cake because it has just the right of sweetness in it, but it doesn't have your traditional sugar in it, granulated sugar, that kind of thing. It also that I like using this is because I'm using unsweetened coconut, unsulfured in fact, unsweetened coconut. But again, if you don't want to use the unsweetened, you could certainly use the sweetened coconut, and we'll explain that as I go along in the video. I want to start off by telling you very quickly, I no longer put the recipe below or at the bottom of the video, and I'm sorry about that. So if you are interested in trying this sugarless or juice flavored cake, please, you'll be able, jot down. Hopefully I'll go slowly enough, clearly enough, that you can jot it down as we put this recipe together right now. So let's get started. First off, what I did was I'm using my stand mixer. You can use your hand mixer for this. It works fantastic. I'm only using my stand up because I think it's quicker for the video. Now, on the ingredients that we're going to be using, you're going to need 6 egg whites. Now, I had my eggs at room temperature and then separated them. Now, if you don't want to use all egg whites and you want to use eggs, then use only 3 extra large eggs. I again like to use the whites. I think the cake comes up lighter, and I enjoy it that way. But again, if you don't want to use the 6 egg whites, then just use but 3 extra large eggs, okay, at room temperature. Now what I did was I went ahead and I put my 6 egg whites together. Now, you really don't have to beat them. You have to really mix them well. But again, I like to beat them because I think the cake comes up lighter when I do. And you can see what the egg whites look like. And I did that ahead of time to save some time, so I'm not keeping you too long on this video. So I've already beaten my 6 egg whites. What next I'm going to put in is 3/4 of a cup of oil. Now you decide on what type of oil that you want to use. I don't want to get into the debate about what type of oil, and I get angry questions about it. So you pick the oil, but 3/4 of a cup of oil, okay? The next thing that we're going to be putting in is 2 cups again of the unsweetened, just 100% juice. It's in the frozen section in your store. And if you come up just a little tiny bit short, then just add a little bit of water to it. I mean, just a couple drops. But I usually get about 2 cups out of this, okay, out of the frozen concentrate. And I'm just going to turn it on just to start mixing it just a little. Okay. Now the next thing that you're going to be putting in is dry milk. This is the dry powdered milk that you can make milk yourself. And what you're going to need is 3 tablespoons plus 2 tablespoons plus, I'm sorry, I did make a mistake. Please apologize for my error. I want to apologize. I'm sorry about that. Let's back up. 3 tablespoons plus 2.5 teaspoons of dry milk. You know, when that plus comes in, it gets a little confusing. So again, I'm going to repeat that. 3 tablespoons plus 2.5 teaspoons of dry milk. And again, I'm sorry about that error. Now, this is when I'm just going to mix it for just about 30 seconds, not more, a little bit longer if you want, 45 seconds, but you don't want to, you know, mix it too long. What it really does is it kind of breaks up if once you're concentrate, if it's a little bit frozen as mine was, it helps to mix it in, okay? And you can let it completely thaw if you want, but I'm one of these people, I want to get going and get it done, and I have done it when I have completely had it unthawed and what you saw, semi-thawed, and it comes out great every time. All right, now the next thing that you're going to need, of course, is all-purpose flour. And what you're going to be putting in, and this is another one with a plus, so I want to get it right, and I want you to get it right if you're copying it down. You'll need 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons yes, 2 tablespoons plus 1.5 teaspoons of flour. Again, I'm sorry about all the little intricate measurement there, but it really is well worth the cake. But let me repeat that again, okay? This is all-purpose flour. 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons plus 1.5 teaspoons of flour, okay? And I'm going to just put that in there. Just on very low speed, just kind of stir it in. All right. Next up, we're going to put 1/2 cup of unsweetened baking cocoa. This isn't the type of cocoa, you know, that comes out of a packet and you make hot chocolate with. This is the unsweetened baking cocoa, and it's 1/2 cup. And I'm just going to put it all in. I've got a little bit all over my mixer here. And again, just stir it. And just mix it at this point, okay? All right. I'm going to get those concentrate containers. And again, I'm showing you both. It didn't mean I used both. I only used one, 2 cups. But I wanted to show you the different flavors. Okay. Now, what also we talked about early in the video is the unsweetened coconut that I'm using. Okay. It's 3/4 cup of unsweetened coconut. And to make it so it's moist and not so dry, because if you use the unsweetened, you know, a lot of people don't like the texture because it's very dry. What you're going to do is you're going to put 2 teaspoons of water in it and 1.5 teaspoons of oil, any kind of oil you want to use. Let me repeat that. Add 2 teaspoons of water plus 1.5 teaspoon of your choice of oil. And that's the first thing that I do before I make these cakes, is that I let it, you know, set, and it'll moisten up. Now, if you're using the sweetened coconut, you will probably definitely not need the liquid or the oil, the water or the oil. Just go ahead and use your 3/4 cup if you're using the sweetened. But if you're using the unsweetened, as I am, and this in particular is unsulfured, unsweetened, it really needs to have that moisture added, okay? So I'm gonna put in that unsweetened coconut in now, okay? I want to get it all out because, you know, it's so expensive these days to bake, you know, and you don't want to waste. You just don't want to, you know, waste a lot of it, you know. At least that's how I feel about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other folks feel that way. Okay, now this is when we can really spend some time mixing, and you can go ahead and beat it and not worry about it, okay? And it probably, you're only going to do it for maybe a minute or two. I'm going to do it quicker because of the video, but you just want it beaten, that it's well incorporated and well combined. And I want to warn you about the sound of my mixer. Now, you're not going to use that high of a speed, especially if you're using your hand mixer. I don't know which one you have, the motor you have, or the, you know, how much power you're going to use. But I just went and raised my speed so that I could move it along. But I generally am about medium speed, just till it's combined, okay? Now, the very last ingredient that really is probably the most important one in this recipe is baking soda. And you'll need 2 teaspoons of it. But we traditionally put baking soda in and baking powders when we bake a lot earlier in the mixture. But this particular cake, it's the last thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to really just mix it so quickly because I want to be able to keep, like, it almost, you can see it looks like it's aerated, you know, and you want it quick. So you want to be ready with your pan. Now, I use a 13x9 pan. I put, you will need to grease it or use your parchment paper, and after I greased it, I dusted it with flour. But again, if you want to use parchment, feel free. So the last thing I'm going to do is put in this 2 teaspoons of baking soda very quickly, and quickly, without, you know, I never let it just sit, the batter sit. I immediately goes in the pan and in the oven. So I'm going to put that in, the 2 teaspoons. And it's that quick. Now, I raised my speed a lot, but you know, just don't spend a long time. Just make sure that it's mixed, because you can fold it before you pour it into your pan anyway. Now I'm just going to take the excess off my paddle, because again, I hate to waste product, because eggs are, you know, very expensive right now. Coconut is expensive. And again, I'm just folding it in, cleaning the sides of my bowl and the bottom. I don't want to overdo it though, okay? So then quickly put that in your 13x9 pan. Okay. And of course, we just, you know, spread it out as evenly as you can. I try not to really mess with it too long. I just want to get it quickly, because I don't know, you might not be able to see it, but it's, you know, really fluffy and puffy right now because of that baking soda. And I do not tap this cake. I know many of us, we tap cakes, of course, to get air bubbles out of cakes. but not this one. And again, I don't know if you can see how much that baking soda has just made this batter so fluffy and so light. Okay. All right, one last attempt to get out the remaining. There we go. Okay. And then, there we go. Okay. And we'll set that aside. All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to put it in a preheated oven. And again, a little bit, you know, this recipe, like I said, it takes a little bit of time. It can kind of look complicated a little bit, but it's well worth the time. What you're going to do is you're going to preheat your oven at 350 and you're going to bake the cake for 25 minutes. Now remember, ovens set up so differently. So I start really watching mine at about even 18 minutes, 20 minutes, because some ovens come up faster, some are longer. You know your oven. So, but generally about 25 minutes or less. Don't go more, and you probably are going to dry it out if you do. Then what you'll want to do is you'll want to turn the temperature down to 325. And at 325, it could take you an additional 8 to 10 minutes to bake it. But it just kind of cools it down and finishes off its bake. So it doesn't get very dry or very dense. At least that's what I find, okay? So let's repeat that again. At 350 preheated oven, you're going to leave it in no longer than 25 minutes. Start checking it early. I check it, like I said, around 18 to 19 minutes or so. And then bring the temperature down to 325. And then that could take an additional 8 to 10 minutes, depending on your oven. So if you know that your oven bakes quicker or the heat is higher, you might want to check it maybe in 5 minutes and not wait for the full 8. It's really you knowing your oven. But this is kind of a general idea or a guide on baking this cake, okay? Now, I'm going to rinse my hands quickly, and then I'd like to show you what this cake looks like once it's baked up. But I was working with raw eggs, and I want to quickly just wash my hands here. Okay. Now I put it on this large tray so that I'd be able to handle it, and I have it on a glass plate. But this is how it turns out, okay? It will have a medium brown color to it, okay? Don't think if you're using the grape concentrate, you know, it's going to be purple or anything, because it isn't. But anyway, it'll have more of a flat surface to it, okay, and I think you can see the thickness on it. You know, so this cake is different than the traditional cakes. But if, again, you need a cake or want a cake where you're not using sugars or artificial sweeteners, this is a delicious cake if you're willing to spend the time and give it a go. You know, it's a little extra work, as I said, but it's well worth it when you eat it. Now, as far as the toppings, that's going to be up to you whether you want to use a sugarless frostings. I have some on my channel, or you're going to just maybe put whipped cream on the top or something like that. It's really going to be up to you. So you can garnish it however that you want to. But it's a great tasting little cake. Again, sorry I don't have that recipe written down. I will put down, I'll print out that one mistake that I made just in case when I corrected myself, and I'll put that on the video. But it's not worth it anymore, and I'm not alone on this. But I got so tired of seeing my work pinned and posted and people taking my work as their own. And I think what really did it was when I always tell people at the end of the video, if you try this and you like it, let me hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Well, then I would see these comments or see the questions with my work on it, but not on YouTube, and I couldn't answer them. And it made me so frustrated that it just isn't worth the time anymore. So again, I'm sorry about today about my little flubs. Usually I don't think I make that many mistakes. And I understand. I had someone recently write to me and left me kind of a nasty message about, making a mistake. Well, you know what? I'm not a trained chef. I'm just a home baker. I'm sharing these recipes from my family, from my family's restaurant business and their catering business from many years ago. And I do make mistakes. I'm human. So thank you for listening. Sorry to tie you up that long to explain that to you. But when people write to me or they're angry about why I don't put the video on, I'm explaining it. So, but I know that many people won't like that I took the time to explain it. So I'm just doing the best. So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. That's the only place I put my videos on. So if you want to watch me solely on YouTube and you want to write to me, I will do my best to answer in a timely fashion. And you will get answered, okay? So I want to thank you for watching. Again, Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.